What if I told you the smartest middleweight sport bike in 2026 isn't from Japan? Yeah, I know, that sounds illegal, but the 2026 CFMoto 450SR is quietly doing something the Ninja 500 isn't. And once you notice it, you can't unsee it. Because this isn't about which bike is faster. It's not even about which one sounds better. It's about which one actually makes more sense to live with every single day. And surprisingly, the 450SR might be playing chess, while the Ninja 500 is still playing checkers. Let's start with the obvious: power. On paper, the Ninja 500 wins. Bigger engine, more displacement, that classic Kawasaki parallel twin punch. It's predictable, smooth, and familiar. Like ordering the same burger every time because you're afraid to try something new. But here's where things get interesting. The 2026 CFMoto 450SR doesn't try to beat the Ninja 500 with brute force. Instead, it focuses on how the power is delivered. The 450SR's twin-cylinder engine feels sharper, more eager, and lighter on its feet. Twist the throttle, and it responds instantly. Not aggressively, but intelligently. It's the difference between a strong push and a perfectly timed one. And that matters more than you think, because in real-world riding, city traffic, quick overtakes, twisty back roads, responsiveness beats raw numbers. The 450SR feels alive at lower speeds, while the Ninja 500 sometimes feels like it's waiting for you to push harder. But here's the twist. The smarter move isn't just about the engine, it's about weight. The 450SR is lighter, noticeably lighter, and that changes everything. Turning feels easier, flicking through corners feels natural, even parking feels less like a gym session. Meanwhile, the Ninja 500 carries a bit more bulk. Not heavy, just, well, heavier. And when you combine that with slightly calmer steering, the Kawasaki feels more stable, but also less playful. So here's a quick question. Do you want a bike that listens or one that lectures? Because the 450SR feels like it's working with you. The Ninja 500 feels like it's reminding you who's in charge. And this is where the 450SR starts to look smarter. Now let's talk about design, because let's be honest, you're not buying a sport bike to look average. The Ninja 500 looks good, clean, sharp, familiar. It's unmistakably Kawasaki, but it also looks like every other Ninja. If you park it in a lineup, even owners might need a second glance. The 450SR, it looks like it escaped from a higher class. Aggressive LED lighting, aerodynamic winglets, a futuristic front end that actually looks like it belongs in 2026. It doesn't just look sporty, it looks expensive. And here's the funny part. You could park the 450SR next to bikes twice its price, and people would still walk over to the CFMoto first. Not bad for the budget option, right? But looks are one thing. Technology is where the 450SR really starts flexing. The 2026 450SR comes packed with features riders actually use. A full-color TFT display that's crisp and modern, clear ride data, smart layout. It feels like a smartphone on your handlebars. The Ninja 500, it's functional. It works, but it doesn't wow you. It's like using a phone from 3 years ago. Nothing wrong with it, just not exciting. And here's something nobody talks about enough. Perception. When you sit on the 450SR, it feels like a modern machine. When you sit on the Ninja 500, it feels like an updated classic. Neither is bad, but one feels newer. And that psychological difference, it matters more than spec sheets. Now let's talk about comfort, because this is where some sport bikes fall apart. The 450SR strikes a surprisingly good balance. Slightly aggressive, but not wrist-breaking. The seat is supportive. The riding triangle feels compact but manageable. You can ride it daily without needing a chiropractor subscription. The Ninja 500, on the other hand, is slightly more relaxed. And yes, that's a win for long rides. But here's the catch. That comfort comes with less excitement. It's like choosing between a sports car and a sporty sedan. One is easier to live with. The other makes you smile more. So the real question becomes, do you want comfortable or memorable? Because the 450SR leans towards memorable without becoming uncomfortable. Now let's address the elephant in the room: reliability. Kawasaki has decades of trust. The Ninja badge means something. It's safe, it's proven. It's the option your friend recommends when they don't want to think too hard. CFMoto, meanwhile, is still earning that trust. But here's the thing, they're not the same brand they were years ago. Build quality has improved. Fit and finish feels solid, and the 450SR doesn't feel like a budget compromise anymore. In fact, it feels intentional, Like CFMoto didn't just build a cheaper bike, they built a smarter one. But we haven't even talked about the biggest reason yet: value. Because when you compare what you're getting, design, weight, features, performance feel, the 450SR starts to look like it's punching above its class. The Ninja 500 is solid, but conservative. The 450SR takes risks, and sometimes the smarter choice is the one willing to evolve. So here's the bottom line. The Ninja 500 is the safe pick. Proven, reliable, predictable. The 450SR is the clever pick. Lighter, sharper, more modern, more exciting. One follows tradition, the other questions it. And in 2026, that might be exactly why the 450SR is actually smarter. But this comparison gets even more interesting when you see how the 450SR stacks up against another popular rival, and that one might surprise you even more. So, click the video on your screen right now to watch the next comparison and find out which bike the 450SR really shouldn't be beating, but somehow does anyway.